my name is Harris Bard for Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. I'm an aquarist with over 20 years of experience in keeping fish, and I am a director at my company, Pond Life Aquatics, which is a family-run business with me and my dad. My dad has over 50 years experience in keeping fish. We're based in the heart of Northwest London in Finchley Nurseries. It's a beautiful family-run garden centre. I'm so excited to be doing this collaboration with Aquafinity to give you guys an idea of what we're trying to do here at Pond Life Aquatics and what we do a little bit differently than everyone else. What's unique about the way that we keep fish here is that our entire brand new bespoke made tropical fish room is done in a way that I have never seen done. We keep our fish specifically by continent. When you first walk into our fish room and you look on the left hand side, we have our South American selection. So everything you find in this section here will be from South America, which we find is hugely beneficial to be able to say to our customers, everything here is either from a specific biome or is from this specific part of the world. In South America, we keep everything that you would expect to find here. We have some amazing owl cats in the form of king tigerplex, some beautiful snow white and citrus, while also keeping your bread and butter species, so your neon tetra, cardinal tetra. We have some bloodfins, rummy nose, guppies, everything you'd expect alongside some more interesting species. One of my favorite things that we're keeping at the moment are Apistogramma vegeta 2s, which are these gorgeous little cichlid species that have such intricate and stunning breeding behaviors. Moving on slightly, we have this tank, which was initially set up as a sort of miscellaneous tank for if there's anything specifically that we wanted to keep. It's actually ended up being a North American tank where we have rainbow shiners and fathead minnows. This is a really beautiful tank and gets a lot of attention. I think it's a bit of an oddity to have a specific North American species tank, but as you can see, the rainbow shiners are absolutely stunning and the minnows are so characterful. Above that, you can see up here that we have posters that are meant to help educate people who come to our store. Moving on, we have our Asian section, which is the largest section of our aquarium. We have everything that you could really want. We have some stunning Rasbora alongside barbs and these stunning long fin cherry barbs. We've got gouramis, female fighting fish, and one of my personal favorite fish, these pygmy puffers. They're absolutely beautiful and so full of character. We have been feeding them swim bladder snails that have just come in as a pest snail on a lot of our plants, and I've just been having a blast keeping them. In the back of our aquarium, we have 4 massive goldfish tanks. As you can see, we try not to overstock our aquariums. We really think it's important to keep fish in the best possible way that we can. Part of that means keeping a much lower amount of stock than you would typically find in your chain stores or a lot of other aquatic stores. We think that we can't say to a customer, this is the best practice to be keeping your fish, and then completely go against that. My favorite part of our Asian range is probably our Siamese Fighter and Neo Caridina tanks. When you go into a lot of fish stores, you will often see things like fighter barracks. I know when I was in America, I saw places like PetSmart keeping Siamese fighting fish in cups. We try to avoid that as much as possible here. We try and give Siamese fighting fish a minimum tank size of around 15 liters each, and that's in a shop setting, which I don't think I've seen anywhere else. Every single one of our tanks, and this isn't just for the Siamese fighters, this goes for every single one of our aquariums, is individually filtered and heated so that we can make sure if anything does go wrong, we can treat each tank individually and it doesn't have to spread through a system like you'll see in a lot of other fish stores. As you can see behind me, we have this really beautiful little aquascape that my colleague Ariane set up. We think it's important to have at least one aquarium fully set up that we can show people best practice in how to keep their fish. In this aquascape, we have things like daisy rice fish, galaxy rasbora, a Siamese fighting fish. Everything from this is in a biome setup. It's been thriving like this for a fair few months now. Ariane really puts the work in when it comes to maintaining it and making it look beautiful. And I feel like it really pays off when people come to our store. They can see that we genuinely care about our fish, and the amount of space that we give, particularly Siamese fighting fish compared to other stores, I hope shines through for people and makes them see how important keeping fish in the best possible way is for us here at Pond Life. Moving on, we have our Australia biome. We have really stunning threadfin rainbows and some Bosmani rainbows. We also have some somewhat oddball species like peacock gudgeon, which are just these really beautiful, vibrantly colored species of fish that live in slow-moving waters, are kind of ideal for keeping at home. They are a real centerpiece fish that have so much personality, and you can really fall in love with them. Again, with all of our aquariums, these are all individually filtered. I've shown you exactly how we filtrate every single one of our tanks individually, how we feed and maintain our aquariums. We here at Pond Life think it's extraordinarily important to never knowingly sell customers sick fish. So we have specific tanks that are quarantine spaces for when a fish shipment comes in and the fish look sick, we can treat them without them having to be in the display room. If, unfortunately, after we get a shipment of fish in, we start to develop issues once they're in their tank, we will very specifically quarantine that tank and we will not sell out of it. We're hoping at some point to expand our quarantine space. For the time being, we do our best to maintain the highest quality water we possibly can, whether that's through huge amounts of testing that we do every single day for hours, in-depth maintenance, cleaning filtration, making sure there's no waste buildup, being thorough in our checking through of our aquariums, so that when we get fish in, they have the best possible chance of settling into their new aquariums and not developing their issues. If unfortunately there is any complications, we make sure that we don't pass that on to our customer in any knowing way. If there's any hint of an issue, we will not sell to our customers because we feel like that breaks a trust between us and them. The next section that I really am quite excited to show you is our African range, where we have our African cichlids. We know that some stores don't specifically name their Lake Malawis. We try to, as best we can, because there is some misnaming when it comes to the industry, have each of our Malawi cichlids named above the tank with their specific temperature ranges, their max size, their pH. Our really, really talented Charlotte made all of these labels bespoke, which tells our customers exactly how big the fish is going to get, what pH they need, what requirements there is to water quality, how compatible they are with other species, whether that be community, semi-aggressive or aggressive. I know that there's a lot of other stores that have that, but I feel like when we have that in keeping with trying to give the most amount of space we possibly can for our species and keeping them in the best possible way, it really gives the full package in letting our customers know that we care about our fish and we care about how they keep their fish. We think it's really important to not sell people fish that are completely inappropriate for their home aquariums. There is occasions when we will have customers come in who have bought from other stores. They would have sold them something completely inappropriate. I personally don't think that would have been a malicious or purposeful thing. Sometimes I think it might just be a knowledge issue, and that's why we think it's so important to help educate people, and why we're always trying to expand our knowledge here at Pond Life Aquatics. We are running a little bit bare on our Africa range at the moment because we had, again, a very busy Christmas, which is fantastic. We usually keep dwarf Congo frogs alongside some really stunning killifish. Additionally, we keep some interesting things like violet clams and hoplo cats. This final section is kind of just our big fish tanks. It has somewhat ended up being Amazon basin for the time being. However, we will probably change that around. This is for fish that we personally feel cannot be kept in some of our regular stock tanks, either because of their aggression or because they genuinely just need a lot more space than we can offer in our stock tanks for things for, like, let's say neon tetra. So we have angelfish, uaru, and discus. Particularly our discus aquarium, which is 4 foot long. We are running a little bit low on stock at the moment because we were quite lucky to sell over the Christmas period. We try and give our fish as much space and keep them in the best possible way we can. With every single one of our aquariums, we vary the feed that we give here. We give on different days flake, pellet. For our cichlids, we have bespoke cichlid food. We try to give live food throughout the week supplied by Peregrine. We supplement with frozen food, which I know has been a bit of a controversial issue online at the moment. However, I personally think that our stockist, TMC, is one of the most trustworthy in terms of quality when it comes to frozen food, and we've never had any issues when it comes to feeding their frozen food here. Finally, we've got our plant tanks here at Pond Life looking really bare because we've sold quite a lot of fish, quite a lot of plants and aquariums over the last few weeks, which has just been fantastic. And if any of our new customers see this, then thank you so much. What I think we do differently to a lot of other aquarium stores is we really spend a lot of time on our plants here at Pond Life. As you could tell, in all of our aquariums, we keep live plant. Obviously, we're not keeping crazy highlight species in all of our aquariums that have just classic shop lighting on them. We have loads of different varieties of Najas, Java Fern, Anubias, all things that are super low light and easy to keep. We try to keep them looking in the best possible way we can, whether that be through cleaning algae that can accumulate on slower growing species, or for example, in our stock tank, we will actively supplement our aquarium feed. We've got filtration on it. We spend a lot of time just making sure our plants are the highest possible quality we can. Sometimes chain stores and other aquariums have huge turnover on their stock. They are able to get plants in and then immediately sell them through, which obviously means the customer gets fresh stock. However, a lot of the time aquatic plants are grown terrestrially, so when they put them into their aquariums at home, a lot of the time they can have melt. What we think is quite important here is that if people get plants from us, they shouldn't take them home and immediately they start dying. We try and keep our aquarium plants alive for as long as physically possible, while obviously having substrates and everything like that. All of our plants are adapted to being kept in water. People can be sure that when they go home, their plants are going to carry on looking the same, if not better, than when they got them from us. I got my first fish when I was 6 years old, and my dad brought me home a Siamese fighting fish. I feel like I was always going to end up in the aquatics trade, mainly because my father ran a huge aquatic wholesaler. He would spend the majority of his time running the wholesalers. Now he keeps Northwest London's biggest aquatic centre. What I find incredible about the way he kept that wholesalers was every single one of those tanks was individually filtered as well. And he had hundreds and hundreds of aquariums to do. They were maintaining round the clock, constantly making sure that their fish were kept in the best possible way before sending them on to shops. Dad's instilled that in us all here at Pond Life Aquatics, and he instilled that passion for fish keeping in me since I was a child. That's the reason I love aquatics so much. I love learning about biomes, I love learning about specific species, and I love expanding my knowledge. I love it when someone asks me a question about fish that I do not know, and I then get to spend hours doing deep dive research into that. I also love being able to communicate that to people, helping share the joy that I get from fish keeping with them. This is our dry goods store where we keep all of our aquatics gear. We sell things for aquariums and ponds. We have pretty much everything that you could need. We try to keep products that we ourselves know work and we ourselves use, whether it's behind the camera, all of our pond gear, or the aquariums that we use, or all the food and products that we sell. We ourselves use them, and we make sure that we use them in projects that we're proud of. So when you come and ask us for advice, we can say, we know this works because we use it ourselves. We think that's really important for an aquatic store, that they don't just know the answers, but they know it works and they've tried it themselves. We also have a huge range of aquascaping stuff. We kind of have like a pick and mix. sort of setup where we have loads of wood, loads of rock in crates that are just ready for you to come and get. And then in the garden center we're in, they also have a huge rockery range, and all of that is fish friendly that people can use in their aquascapes or their ponds. It's a really useful utility to have for us near the store. In terms of how Pond Life was initially founded, my dad started this business 20 years ago. It was initially more centered around ponds and koi pond maintenance than we are now. He literally built this place up from scratch, and Pond Life has developed and changed so much over the years. Even more so in the last year with our brand new beautiful fish room. We've also expanded our dry goods range, and we've grown by necessity. We've had more and more demand for more and more aquatics. Aquariums are where my passion lies. I also have a huge fondness for koi carp and ponds and building ponds, which hopefully I'll be showing more of. But we literally started out with blue vats in the ground that we sold fish out of, and then over time we've started to change by having more aquariums and then having a brand new dry goods room, which I've shown earlier. Although I can't show it because it's January right now, during the summer we have huge ranges of outdoor plants and massive amounts of outdoor fish, and it's just grown, developed, and changed us and changed overall. We love it. It is a family business where it's all on us. We put our passion into it, and we hope that shows to our customers. Some of the struggles that we've had has kind of been the rise of online. While that can be a hugely beneficial thing in terms of helping people educate themselves when they go to reputable sources, people sending tropical fish in the mail has been a huge issue for us. Obviously, dry goods are always going to be sent via mail, and it does take a massive toll on us. We tend to have people come into our shop and unfortunately take photos of products to then go buy online. What really makes us struggle in terms of livestock is people buying online. There are places that don't have to function as a retail store, and so they don't have to have pet shop licenses in this country, which means they don't have to keep their fish in the best possible way or have any sort of welfare for the fish. In doing that, they are able to ship fish out to people's homes. I understand people wanting to go for the cheapest possible option, but what it ends up doing, particularly to family-run stores like us, is making it a race to the bottom, where we want to keep our fish in the best possible way, and we're always going to keep doing that. But when we have competitors that are selling fish at a fraction of the cost because they don't have to care about the welfare of their fish because they're never going to be inspected on it, it's just a massive thing that we think is unethical and shouldn't be done. And if anyone cares about their local fish shops, then they should not support the online trade of fish. Finally, words of wisdom I would give to someone after 20 years of keeping fish is, if you're thinking of keeping an aquarium for the first time, then take your time with it. Think about really what you want to keep, and think about keeping it in the best possible way you can. I would always recommend going for the biggest possible aquarium that you can manage, because it will just make your life easier. Having bigger aquariums allows for more stable water parameters and will ultimately lead to you having a better time keeping fish than if you try to cram fish into an unsuitable, undersized aquarium. Finally, I would say a word of warning to listening to everyone online. Although there is a huge amount of really detailed expert knowledge online that should be tapped at every possible opportunity, there are also people who keep fish online that don't have the knowledge or experience of keeping fish and tend to spread misinformation. So I would be very wary of that, but I'm sure everyone is aware of misinformation being spread online, and you don't need me to say that. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me at Pond Life Aquatics. I hope you've enjoyed seeing our 60+ aquariums kept in all different continents. Thank you so much to Aquafinity for this opportunity in interviewing me and wanting to know exactly what we do here at Pond Life Aquatics. I hope that you'll join us again over on our channel at Pond Life Aquatics, and I hope you'll join us again for this Pond Life.